This new bill that is on the way in the pipeline would remove the words "and for gain" from the following sentence. A person commits an offence if he knowingly and for gain facilitates the arrival or attempted arrival in, or the entry or attempt of entry into, the United Kingdom of an individual, and he knows or has reasonable cause to believe that the individual is an asylum seeker. So at the moment, the crime for helping an actual asylum seeker, all right? Not whatever phrase you use to camouflage the horror of these policies. So not an economic migrant, which is, of course, what lots of young British people will be if they take advantage of this new visa that allows them to travel to Australia, and not an illegal immigrant, which is a status that can only be achieved by asylum applicants after their asylum application has been processed and rejected, and they then go into hiding. So they're all, as you well know, these are all horrible phrases injected into the public vocabulary by nasty old men who now spend their lives shouting at dinghies in Dover. So this, to me, and to Jonathan Portes, looks as if it criminalises the Kindertransport. The single, and I'm going to use a populist trope here because it's so powerful and it remains so powerful. The single most inspirational and incredible moment of television I have ever seen does not involve an elephant doing a whoopsie on Blue Peter, right? It was an episode of Esther Rantzen's programme, That's Life, when a chap called Nicholas Winton, Sir Nicholas Winton as he became, I think he did, I bloody hope he did. When he was a lad, he found himself, I think, in Vienna at the outbreak of the Second World War, and he saw the writing on the wall and therefore organised, and this involved forging documents and faking paperwork. He organised a mass exodus of children from Nazi-occupied countries to safe havens, chiefly in Nicholas Winton's case, the United Kingdom. In other words, he knowingly facilitated the arrival or attempted arrival in, or the entry or attempted entry into, the United Kingdom of an individual, and he knew or had reasonable cause to believe that the individual was an asylum seeker. And I know you've seen the clip to which I refer, when Esther Rantzen arranged things so that Nicholas Winton was sitting in the audience of her television programme expecting, I think he knew he was going to get a pat on the back or a little bit of a mention in the show, so he was there with his wife. I can't tell you this without welling up, and I know that's a bit pathetic of me or sentimental, but this isn't sentiment. This is deep, deep and important emotion. Humanity at its purest. Because what they'd done was arrange for almost the entire studio audience to be populated by the adults that Nicholas Winton rescued, the adults that the children he rescued had become. And they all stood up. I tell you what, there aren't many items of celluloid that I've watched that I can send a shiver down my own spine by simply describing to you. So the children that he rescued grew up to become British citizens. He didn't know they were there. They all stood up. I think they were even sitting on either side of him and his wife. They were sitting behind him. They were sitting all around, and almost the entire audience got to its feet. And those kids would have died if it wasn't for Nicholas Winton. And what Nicholas Winton did was knowingly facilitate their arrival in the United Kingdom while knowing that those individuals were asylum seekers. So we could be wrong, and we've put in a question to the Home Office, where Priti Patel, of course, still presides, despite being found to be a bully by an inquiry led by the independent advisor into the ministerial code, who subsequently resigned after Boris Johnson refused to act on it. We could be wrong, and if we are, I will read their statement out, their explanation out in full. Obviously, I hope that we're wrong, but it appears to me that Priti Patel is in the process of criminalising the Kindertransport. It's as if she watched Schindler's List and decided that Oskar Schindler was the bad guy. Doff cap, tug forelock, vote Priti Patel.